That's great.
I kind of want to stroke my own ego here, but I don't know if this is true or not. But Arthur, for those that don't know, you can speak Japanese, right? Or can you just read it?
Yes. Speak, read, write.
So as you mentioned before, I commissioned you to work on this job for translating. And then not too long after, it seemed like you were kind of pursuing that more. And I was just curious if I had anything to do with maybe influencing you into your current career choices.
It's been a passion of mine since I discovered that my whole childhood was built on Japan. Like every Nintendo game I've ever played, every Super Nintendo game I've ever played, every Sony PlayStation game I've ever played, made in Japan. And so it was in high school that I actually started learning Japanese. I was a junior. And I took the 2 years that CLC, the College of Lake County, offers before I graduated high school. So I just finished whatever Japanese they could do. And then you're right. You're not too far off to say, like, there's been a gap, right? In 2014, I went to Japan, realized everything I learned in high school, I threw out the window. Like, just doesn't apply to colloquial, everyday talking with people. And so my approach to studying Japanese has changed since 2014. That being said, I've had a Japanese student who I'm still teaching now, ESL, and that would be the only interaction I have with Japanese people is when I go to his house to teach him. And so that would be my minimal practice. But since you've asked me to help you translate, I realized I really like this. I love language. Language is one of my passions. If I wasn't a musician, I'd be a philologist. I love studying the origin of languages and how they've changed through time and through cultures and past borders and boundaries of nations. Japanese in particular, because it holds a special place in my heart. Again, my whole childhood was built on Japan and the amazing art and video games that they've created. So yes, you did help reignite the fire in a way, and
that's all he wanted to hear.
Way, because
that's all he wanted to hear.
That's all I wanted.
We can cut the rest, right? We'll just
that's all bullshit.
Just cut right to that. Okay.
But,
all
good stuff.
All joking aside, though, that is really cool, though, and putting my ego aside, I'm just glad to know that was a contributing thing on top of a bunch of other stuff, because I know it was and is a big part, and just to see. Overseeing that it's been something that's been flourishing and something you're diving into, I'm just happy for you. I think that's great.
No, thank you. You've literally, I've entered competitions since then, translating books.
Whoa.
So I've done that. I never made the runner-up, so I wasn't good enough at translating those pieces of
That's
literature.
still cool, though.
But I've turned down like 7 opportunities at this point to teach English in Japan for obvious reasons. Sioum is in America, but it's like I want to keep that door open because I do love the culture, I love the language. What I love most is the fact that where we are situated, Arlington Heights is one of the highest Japanese populations in America, next to California.
Really?
You have the Arlington Heights, Glenview, Chicagoland area is one of the highest concentrations. If you think about all the pharmaceutical companies that are by there, Takeda, you have Morimoto, there's all these different Japanese companies in that area. So Schaumburg, huge population of Japanese people. So I actually joined a Japanese church. That's like where I played drums and played bass and just got involved more in that. Thanks again to you. So there it is. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Reigniting that fire. I want to be a bridge builder, and so thank you for igniting that fire and showing me that.
Well, I assure you, I'm not looking for things, but that is a really awesome thing, and hopefully you will keep some of those avenues open. You know, you guys have accomplished a lot with yourself, and to accomplish, you know, a Japanese tour of some sorts under your belt. You know what I
That'd be
mean?
my dream come true.
I mean, you could be your own tour manager. You know what I mean? You could work out the logistics, have you guys just come with and lug everything. Like, that's not out of the realm of possible. You know what I'm saying? So, who knows? You know what I mean? And think about it. I mean, you guys have seen how other countries like different forms of music. I would be really interested to see you guys actually getting to more and more listeners out there to see what they would actually say. Because the internet's a great tool, but I know, and you know, that you're not dumping $1 billion into marketing online, so it's still hard to reach some of those listeners. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see what they would think.
Japan, I think especially Europe, we've found when we sell stuff, we sell almost. I think it's easy to say more stuff to Europe, maybe in some ways than here. Not so much Asia, but there can be a plethora of reasons for that. But yeah, at least we know anecdotally that Europe would be pretty great. I think that's common for a lot of bands too. I think Europe more so than America is kind of a little more success with music.
Especially with live music, no doubt about that. And if it is
there you go.
a little bit more aggressive, that tends to have, that resonates well. There's a lot of markets for it.
Yeah, anecdotally anyway, yeah, that's totally.
What's the latest video game that each one of you are playing? Because I know you're all playing something. So what's the latest thing you guys are rating on?
That one.
What is
Middle
it?
Earth. It's Shadow of War, Lord of the Rings video game.
I've been playing Spelunky 2, and I don't want to play video games anymore because I don't like it. Because it's a very hard video game.
But, that game is insanely hard.
Yeah, Spelunky 2 would be the one most recent for me.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of older stuff, but the main game I've been playing the most that I've been enjoying, a game from the late 90s, Saga Frontier on the PlayStation. I've been playing that a good deal. I mean, I play, you know, a few different games throughout each week, but that's one that I've been revisiting a lot and putting some time into.
What are some of the retro ones you've been playing recently? Any, you know, favorable mentions or honorable mentions, whatever it's called?
Oh yeah, I mean, Saga Frontiers, I mean, it's weird to think about, but everything, even PlayStation 2 is retro. Mm-hmm. PlayStation 2 is retro, Xbox is retro, GameCube's retro. So yeah, Saga Frontier is definitely probably the most notable. It's by the guys who made Final Fantasy.
Cool.
The Final Fantasy franchise, the same company, and that one's. I mean, that one, and I did do some playthroughs of Metroidvania games I really enjoy, like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, another retro game that I really like. So that was kind of a replay. Saga Frontier is also a replay, but
Metroid Fusion.
Metroid Fusion, yeah, that one was a notable one for me because I had never played that one, and I love that genre so much, and I never played Metroid Fusion. It's the successor to Super Metroid.
Is that DS or is that GameCube?
That one's actually Game Boy Advance, right before DS.
Yeah, I knew it was one of those like off-brand ones, like because they had a couple Metroid games that were like offshoots, but they were still pretty decent games.
Oh yeah, that's the weird part. I was just talking to Kevin about this. Is that the games that were the main AAA best of the best games that were released on console, those games that are of equal quality by most companies got moved to handheld. So Metroid Fusion, in some ways, I still consider Super Metroid my favorite, but Metroid Fusion, in many ways, is far better than the console games. It automatically handheld. A lot of people think, oh, it's not as good, or it's a lighter game. Now, some handheld games are 60 hours. You know, it is just at that point the company's mentalities were, oh, it's not the most beautiful 3D polygon graphics, it's not the most up-to-date state-of-the-art technology, let's throw it to handheld. But the quality of that handheld game is equal to what the old consoles main games were. It was an excellent game. So yeah, no, Metroid Fusion I played for the first time, and that was really cool.
I asked you guys recently, where is your video game? And for people who don't know, if you go to Sioum's website, which I'll link everywhere, you guys did a soundtrack for a game, which name escapes me, but it's in front of me in my notes somewhere. I'm not a professional, so what does it matter? Towers of, how do you pronounce it? Ajura?
Ajura, sure, yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Do you guys?
Towers of Ajura.
It's
I know that there's links up online. There's like a Google Drive somewhere that people can check out the game, but the soundtrack is still available on your guys' website. I was just curious if did you guys think you'll do anything video game related again, whether it's a soundtrack, or do you guys think you'll
Yes.
sell like a custom Sioum joystick in your merch store or something like that? Like, do you guys seeing yourself doing something else? And you know me, I'm a sucker for branding. I mean, I collect all kinds of goofy stuff, and I've always done weird branding for myself. So I'd be really interested to get, a Sioum Wishbone NES controller. Just throwing that out there,
Dude, that'd be tight. At least maybe some skins. I maybe some skins would be feasible, right? For like cost of production.
oh yeah, to like skins for controllers or consoles, you mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that type of thing?
exactly. I guess if I went,
Fortnite skin.
Yeah, I've started dabbling in woodworking, so I could also put together like some custom cases or something for shit. But
Yeah,
no,
a case or a box.
yeah, right. We definitely would love to do more soundtracking. I guess to answer that question, yeah, that's like a huge goal is to do more soundtracking. We do some chiptune music as it is, just for fun. It's super fun to do with our Twitch, our band's Twitch, Sioum Music. We plan on live streaming. It's at some point, after this album and all that, writing chiptune music and getting some audience participation in like the theme of the song and like where to go next with this song. We have a bunch of ideas, but in some like 8-bit style or like 16-bit, like some SNES style music or Nintendo. So we'll be live streaming that at some point, but then also some professional soundtracking would be very rewarding too. Would love to do that.
Yeah, I think we've always wanted to. It's almost like, well, we did it once. It was for a very small, small release, small game.
Yeah.
But we've always said we were going to do it again. That was always the intention. And it's just, time is hard to fight against. It just goes by quick. That's a long story short. Just time goes by quick. There's other things we wanted to get done, and it just kept going by, and we haven't had the opportunities. But we do want to. There's also some sort of setup. I've always imagined this as well, and I've talked to you guys about this, but there's some kind of like prep work involved, like a resume almost to display. I want to kind of gather our best of our best. I kind of want to write something that hasn't been written yet, to have a little bit of a resume showcase.
Gotcha.
I just want to put together a little portfolio for us. So that has always been a plan. It just hasn't come to happen yet with everything that we've been doing over the years,
I think either way we'll do it though, like because we have the means to do accurate sounding 8-bit and 16-bit songs, original songs, even just tinkering around with the recent SNES one that we purchased. Yeah, it just sounds identical to the real thing. I think it even uses the real samples of the video game you choose. Like if not Saga Frontier, what?
Like Chrono Trigger or something.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger. Thanks.
I had a feeling
we can like pull from that sample bank and make other songs just like that. There's just so many possibilities. So either way, we'll be, I think, in the more immediate future, hopefully sometime this year, we'll be starting to compose original music. It's just too much fun not to.
Yeah, and especially at least with the idea Kevin mentioned on Twitch.
Yeah,
Getting participation and kind of writing music on the spot live.
Yeah, and like just having like a poll, like, okay, is this song about an RPG on the beach with, and okay, or is it in the mountains? Okay, it's on the beach. Chat voted on that. Okay, now is it going to be, are we fighting a bear, or are we fighting a warlord or a wizard?
Yeah,
and just writing off of that. just bullshitting around, having fun.
I recently did an interview with Travis Orvin, who plays drums for Darkest Hour and does a bunch of session work. And he was the original drummer of Periphery and Sky Eats Airplane. And I asked him, I go, you know, Sky Eats Airplane is known as one of the godfathers of Nintendocore, next to Horse the Band and some of these other ones. He's like, can I revoke that title? He's like, I don't want that title anymore. And I'm like, dude, I was like, you know, a lot of people out there are still making a lot of Nintendo-infused music, so I don't think that's just a joke. Like, a lot of people really enjoy that. There's a lot of smaller guys that are still doing it to this day, and it's just, I don't know if it's a nostalgia factor or what it is, but it's, even to this day, I still listen to a few of those and just love that chiptune kind of stuff. It makes me want to get one of the old, whatever that they're sampling. I don't know if it's an old Roland or if it's an old whatever, but wherever a lot of those sources come from makes me want to get one of those, you know. But to, you know, like you said, the sample packs and the stuff that they offer now are just, I mean, they're ridiculous.
I wouldn't be shy about that. I think especially in our kind of genre, and in other genres like synthwave, there's a lot of crossover with just people that enjoy video game music and instrumental music that reminds you of video games and stuff.
Yeah, definitely a pretty big crossover between video game soundtracks and the genres we are usually linked to, you know, our neighboring genres and such. Big crossovers.
Holy shit. I mean, NES music and some of the counterpoint, like from a compositional standpoint, I mean, Castlevania 3, I mean, there's just, it's good music, man. Like, even recently, like Shovel Knight, like Jake Kaufman, I mean, that soundtrack, if you listen to that, like, it's insane. Like, from a compositional standpoint, you cannot talk shit about that soundtrack. It's just amazing.
When I was younger, I remember playing earlier Mega Man games, and I was like, you know,
oh, yeah, dude,
this would just be the best metal you have ever heard. And then, like, Mega Man X4 comes out with all the sample replacements, and you're just like, all right then. Like, so, yes, this perfectly works. But, the compositions are just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Some of these guys are something else, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still using the same keyboard these days, Kevin? Or have you upgraded that at all to anything fun and new?
Well, these days I don't even know. Like, everything's a blur now. But yeah, I've always used a Korg workstation. It used to be the Triton Extreme long ago, and now I use a Korg Kronos workstation. Which I enjoy, I think. With the next album, though, I will be completely overhauling the way that I write music.
Why the overhaul? And then it raises the question of, are you eyeballing any kind of synths? You looking to get a Nord or any of these other, like, you know, keyboards that are out there that people, you know, have been lusting after recently?
Not a workstation. The overhaul will not be. I'll still use the Korg Kronos, but I'll use it as like a MIDI brain to control other synths. Like I have Innovation Peak, which is a desktop synth. And for those that don't know, it's basically a subtractive synthesizer, but it doesn't have a keyboard, so you need a keyboard to play that.
Are you using Ableton Live to trigger everything, or like what do you?
No. Like I'll basically be using a MIDI cable from the Kronos out to the Novation Peak to play that synthesizer.
Oh, okay.
But just like an easier to digest description is I'm going to be using actual synthesizer hardware for a lot of my sounds, and I'll be using a rack unit of some sort for effects. Basically, the point is to not be limited to the Korg Kronos and the sounds on there, because what if I want to use, you know, various types of, like, I want to use my Mercury 7 pedal by Maris, or I want to use a random distortion pedal. there's not like a good way to do. There's not a clean way to do that now in the way that I need it to work. So I'm going to be using probably like an Axe Effects or something for amp emulation, because I use a lot of amp emulation in my sound design. And so I'll route a bunch of synthesizers that I like the sound of into that, and I'll use that for effects and processing and EQing and stuff.
For some reason, I misunderstood, or I'm just an idiot. I thought you were talking about something software-based. That's why I was asking about Ableton. But I think I got you now as far as just actual physical hardware.
Yeah.
So you're just going to get like
hardware.
an actual rack to basically just sit right next to your Korg, and basically just everything from there can wire out and just, swap in fun stuff that you want to play and what have you.
Yeah, you're not far off. Yeah, like so I'll probably use my Pro 2, which is a Dave Smith instrument, a synthesizer. I'm going to be using the Novation Peak. I think will be one of the main ones that I use because I really like the sound of that. And then I'll run that through an Axe Effects, and maybe like I have an analog heat, which is like a distortion unit, but it can emulate basically any kind of distortion you can dream of. The analog heat, you can use it for that, be it overdrive or high gain or all kinds of different stuff. So that's like I'll be basically combining it, kind of all of that, and I'll be using the Korg Kronos, the MIDI essentially, to kind of split things up and be able to play using mostly just the Kronos still.
Nice.
So as a workstation, I'll be using it to control other synthesizers. But that way I don't have to be stuck to the internal effects of a synthesizer that came out. I don't even know how many years ago now. Many years ago. There's just a lot more robust stuff out there.
Nice.
So, but I still like the damn Korg Kronos. I'm using it for this album, and it takes. I mean, you have to understand, like when you're editing as a synth player, you're editing these parameters, ADSR, and you're just micro adjusting LFOs and all this geeky synth stuff, and to do so on a screen, like I don't even know the size, like 5 inches
If
by
that.
4. Yeah, it's just not enjoyable, and you just want to be able to access every parameter instantly. It's just, yeah. So I'm just going to try and create a more positive environment when I'm doing sound design, because right now I'll spend about 8 or 10 hours at a time just trying to work on a single bass patch. And that's not enjoyable, and that's not like a pat on the back for me. Like, it should not take that long. But, it just takes days and weeks and months of fucking working on these settings just to try and irk something out that you like. And I don't want to do it anymore. So I'm going to try a new approach. And especially, and last thing, in a metal oriented band with a lot of distortion guitar and like heavy drums and stuff, being a synth player is not the most accommodating environment. So a lot of sounds I have to tailor towards not sounding like synths and not sounding digital, because it can come off as very cheesy, which I mean, there's great music that incorporates that, like Dream Theater, like you mentioned.
Yeah, but you're not a sampler. You're not waiting for your cue to, hit your whatever,
It's just, we don't sound like Dream Theater, we're not, we have dark, raw sound, and I listen to that over something like Dream Theater, I guess, to be candid. So you have to then emulate distortion guitar sounds on this very static, cold instrument like a synth, and that's tough. So hopefully in trying this, I can kind of create something that's a little easier to use.
It's going to open up your world to be able to bring in a lot of different, it's open-ended at that point. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun.
More modular, more ability to take away effects or bring in effects and pedals and stuff that is more guitar oriented stuff too. So I'm excited. Yeah.
The recording process isn't a walk in the park. Personally, I know you guys have had your share of headaches throughout the recording process, to say the least. What do you hate the most about it? And you know, we'll just follow up with, you know, what do you love the most about it?
The most is getting it done. Is the day it's done and it's mastered. So
It's done.
it's when it's done. There's something that is so relieving that it's simply indescribable.
Yeah, I don't think you can beat that. I don't think you can beat that. Small runner up is on those very short moments, which maybe some people are not. They're not short moments for them. Sometimes you just have a really good day recording. You feel really good about how you played, and you're really good about the. You feel really good about the expression you put into your playing or the vibratos you did or anything. And anyway, you're just happy with your takes, and they sound really good. And you're like, I feel really good. That was awesome. But that's very, very far second from just having it done. That's the most enjoyable part. I want that copy done in my hands.
Yeah.
Especially when you think it's really good, but then you listen to it the next day and it's not.
Oh yeah, that's the
worst thing in the world.
That's the worst part.
The worst part is recording yourself and being hard on yourself, being like, is this performance good? And if it's a really bad day, then you take that and go further with, am I good? Am I a good musician? Is this even good music? Like you can really spiral
Ruminate.
down. Really,
Yeah,
you can ruminate.
definitely.
And that it's the worst because that you're doing it because you love to do it, and now you're just having a terrible experience with it. Which to be frank it's a large part of our experience when recording. There's recording bands, and then there's like us, and we love writing music, recording the music. It's probably our fault that we don't like it as much too, because we use a random digital audio workstation that's not really well known. We use one called Sonar.
Still? I thought Sonar was recently bought
dude.
out by...
It was.
By Gibson.
It was bought out, and then it became a freeware, and it's still a DAW. It's just not very good compared to others, but we don't even use the most recent one. We use Sonar 8.5, which is ancient now.
12 years old, something like that.
Just ancient. And it's not a good, it's amazing for MIDI. It's insanely good for MIDI, but for audio and for a lot of more, I don't know, just like modern type production techniques, it's not good for that. So as a result, you see us using that DAW for so long. You see us loving writing in MIDI and creating stuff, but then recording it, just absolutely tearing our hair out, because we just can't. It's just not good until you realize there's stuff like audio quantization, and there's ways to make your process easier,
Yeah.
But Sonar isn't the DAW for that. So we're a product of how
Our
we
own
learned
misery.
music.
I mean, we really could easily move. We could move to our next. We can learn how to do what is that one? The famous one?
Yeah, Pro Tools, Reaper, Logic,
Tools,
Cubase, whatever.
Logitech, yeah, whatever.
FL
Like,
Studio, dude. FL Studio is the one we're getting. No, I'm 100% serious. It's FL Studio.
There you go.
It sounds
Hey,
I'll
I'll use that for the next album.
I guarantee you.
It sounds like it's going to be it, and I'm cool with what I heard about it so far. So,
but yeah, we
Only good
push
things.
Sonar. We push Sonar Cakewalk to its limit in terms of MIDI and use and usability.
we got a lot of use out of it.
We
Yeah.
got a lot of use out of it after all these years. It's been a great tool, and we're able to get the work done. I'm thinking of an earlier thing we spoke about, where really every musician hates recording. In some way, shape, or form, it's different for everyone. Whether you have the $100,000 from your label to be able to produce with like the most amazing equipment in California or New York, or if you're like us, completely DIY, we can't afford to lose $800 a day at Steve Albini's studio, more or less at a $10,000 a day studio. But I think of my friend who he's made music and toured with Mudvayne, and he told me how Mudvayne, when they recorded, the drums and the bass were so off, like literally they went in and spliced. They literally did what we don't have to do because we're working with MIDI. They spliced the audio and moved over the bass notes to fit with the kick drum so that it sounds tight. I think it's the album LD50.
We are doing that though.
We are. So we're still doing that, but we're not losing $10,000 a day. So we can take 7 years and not die financially.
I think that's a broad stroke though. I think there's tons of musicians that probably love recording.
Yeah, Arthur, studio musicians. That's their job.
Well, that's their job.
Well, they love it.
Even bands.
Even bands.
Come on now.
Bands do. I think there's quite a lot of people, and again, for us, we don't enjoy it. We don't enjoy it as much.
I think there's trials and tribulations for both, because if you listen to professional hired guns, even they'll say at the end of the day, they'll be as professional as they can, but there's still woes to that as well too. This isn't an easy thing. Now, if you're a voice actor who's been doing this for 20 years and you're walking in and out, you know exactly what you're doing. It's a one-dimensional thing, that's fine. But, I mean, sometimes creating music, especially to the lengths that you guys are doing, it's almost like you're creating a game that's fighting against you. It's constantly moving and shaping and shifting, and you're constantly having to work with it. And it's no easy task. So I can completely understand what you're saying, how a bunch of musicians would not like it. I mean, I joke with a friend of mine all the time about a client that came into a studio who was like, I'm not having fun. Music is supposed to be fun. And we just laugh, and we're just like, dude, and this is a seasoned musician, but it gets to a point where it's just kind of like, this is a lot of fun.
We've all been there. We've all been there though, right? We've all fucking thrown down our hands in the air and just been like, "It's supposed to be fun, dude. Yeah. I'm not having fun anymore. Where's the art in this?"
Yeah, but like you said, it's almost like a sadist or a masochistic type thing, because I mean, when people ask me, like, what's the thing that you love the most, my answer always is being in the shit. When it's done, that's great, but you got other problems then. You got other things going on, and yeah, a level of accomplishment is great, but when you're in the shit, when you're just fucking knee deep and you're two songs in and you can't go back and you're like, dude, this is happening right now. There's something about that is just like, I've had a couple times where I've just like stopped and just like, I have to let this sit in or else I'm not going to appreciate anything. And being in the shit, as they say, bring it on. Like, and that might be my war mentality, but like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Some musicians don't mind that hatred because that torture is worth it at the end of the day. And like you said, what's the alternative? It's not there. That void is not worth it. So they're going to push themselves through it, sing that line 750 times until they get it right or whatever it is,
Yeah, very well
put. It is naivete. Is that how you say the word? Being naive, right? And yeah, that gets corrected very quickly when you're in the studio with other musicians and spending a lot of money, and that's sort of a huge lesson that we learned with Yet Further. So that's why the third album, we have not gone to a studio. We've just done it all ourselves from the beginning, knowing full well that we are, as you say, Justin, we're willing to suffer. Each of us, again, it's a nuance. It's not everyone is willing to suffer equally. Some of us draw the line a little earlier, myself. I guess I'm not that sadistic, but I definitely know that the end result will be good because of it. 2 albums later, this third one, I know it's going to be excellent because of it. So I'm just strapping myself in and hanging on, like, all right, we're doing this, boys.
See, your guys' trials and tribulations, though, help to be able to do that. And even if you burden a lot of these things yourself, you've even learned that it's like, well, we can still sub out to mix. We can burden some of these things and do this hard work. We can still find other ways to, like, not have to take it all on, but still exist and not have to, get $16,000 into debt or, this, that, or the other. Kevin, thank you again for your suggestions. In regards to the Evolve 50, though I haven't taken it out as much as I would want to, the thing has actually been awesome and has been a total blessing and totally worth worth the buck. So I've been really happy. I just wanted to mention that. But you mentioned earlier that you've been getting into cooking and whatnot. And I saw you were doing more pizza stuff. Have you perfected making pizzas at home yet? And also, what is your least favorite dish to cook?
Oh man. Well, perfection is a strong word, but every day I try to make it better and better. Yeah, I'm certain I've been a pizza enthusiast since I was a wee lad, but in a much different way of just consuming as much as humanly possible. But now, yeah, it's been cool to actually learn how to make dough and to fire up pizzas and ovens and stuff, and learn about Neapolitan. There's like a whole culture and like history and very specific things you need to do for a Neapolitan style pizza compared to a New York style, compared to a Detroit style. And man, it all tastes real good. So I've just been really enjoying learning how to make pizza. My next cuisine I want to learn how to get good at is Indian food, because Indian food is just immaculate. It's just amazing.
Nice.
And then what was the other? There was another.
What's your least favorite dish to cook?
It's pizza with mushrooms on it, because some people are out of their mind and like mushrooms. But no, not really. My least favorite, I think baking. Can I just do a cop out and say baking? Because unlike cooking, where it's like I'm throwing more garlic in, I'm throwing more oregano and random spices, more salt. It's like with baking, man, if you're off on your like percentage of like,
oh yeah,
how you're, it's just, it ruins the whole thing. And like, man, I don't know. Like I'm so precise and such a perfectionist in other aspects of like every other aspect of my life. With cooking, like, let me just have this one where I just throw in whatever I want. And if it tastes good, then I'm done. Like chili or something. So yeah. I don't know. I would just say baking as a whole. Everything that you have to bake besides pizza dough is my
He's a
favorite.
world-class chili cook. He's won awards. I'm not kidding.
I have.
Really? What kind of awards?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it was a chili competition in Chicago, and I won. I felt very good about that. I was on fucking cloud nine about that.
Do you have some ridiculous trophy with like a golden pepper on the top of it or something?
No, I didn't. I didn't get anything like that. I wish I would. You better believe it would be like on like my front door, like hammered to the door, just like, that's right. Number one.
Dorian, can you tell us about a few of the things that you collect and tell us, or maybe even show us like one of your latest gems that you're, geeking out over there about?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's really one category, just video games. I don't really collect anything else. I guess I kind of stumbled upon it because I always was, since I was young, I was really meticulous about the condition of things. And I just like keeping everything really organized and really nice. So like late 90s, I just stopped selling stuff. I made the mistake of selling like a portion of my collection I got as birthday and Christmas gifts and stuff like that over the years. I made that mistake of selling it off once, and I remember regretting it, and I was like, I don't really want to do that anymore, so I stopped selling it. And then I was in the right place at the right time where games were cheap. I worked at a video game store, like we were talking about earlier, how Kevin and I met. And I worked at a game store for like 7 years. So again, right place at the right time, kept buying, didn't sell, kept buying, didn't sell. So yeah, just video games. Just really, really enjoyed that form of entertainment and media.
That's not true though. It's Magic the Gathering too.
Oh my goodness! Thank you for reminding me. I love Magic the Gathering.
I had to mention it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I love Magic the Gathering. Although Magic's in a weird spot because I definitely played it from the 90s to the early 2000s, but I quit. But I didn't quit buying it. I just quit playing it because I didn't have time. Even now, I played a grand total of 1 or 2 Magic games in 2020. That's it. Do I play Magic anymore? Not really.
Are they still making new cards for that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
They're making more than ever before, and there's a record-breaking card that sold for 93, $511,000 this year. One card.
Was it Killer Bees?
So, huh?
Was it Killer Bees?
No, not Killer Bees.
Oh, okay.
It's funny you know some of the cards. I didn't know you played. But anyway, yeah. So I do collect Magic. I just don't do it to the same extent that I collect video games. And yeah, a lot of Magic's out of my reach at this point. A lot of games are out of my reach. But I got lucky to be in the right place at the right time where it was like super cheap. We were talking about video stores earlier. Blockbuster going out of business. Hollywood Video, Game Crazy, Kmart. All these places went out of business. So I was there picking up clearance games for $1 a piece. You know.
Nice.
Toys R Us.
Toys R Us, yep. KB Toys. What was the other big one like Best Buy? Circuit City. There's so many places we used to know and go to, but they're all gone.
All throughout Lake County, yeah. And that have come and went over the years, yeah.
Yeah, so two things I collect: video games and Magic. Magic is definitely like
guides.
On the light side. Yeah, I guess that falls in the video game category. But yes.
Three things.
Three things, guys. Sorry, four. Tube TVs. No, I have a few tube TVs, but not that many. No, yeah, video game, everything that is in the video game category, like games, guides, some memorabilia, art books, soundtracks, and then everything that's in the Magic category, which is just the cards, really. And I did pick up something really cool lately. Is it around for me to grab? I guess it is. Was that part of the question?
Yeah, I was just curious. Could you, you know, what's something that you've gotten recently? Like, what's your latest gem that you picked up that you're geeking out about? That you know.
It was something that's really redundant. It's really redundant, but I'll grab it.
Go grab it.
It's right here. I'll grab it.
Yeah.
Can you guys see the joy in his face?
Yep.
Yeah, the excitement.
Pure joy.
Like I've always wanted this as a child, so I picked up a Super Nintendo set that I thought was the coolest packaging.
Oh, dude, I didn't even know you got that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
It's very shiny. Is that from what's his name? The
From Craig. Yeah.
Dorian just got Donkey Kong Country.
See, now you got to get the 64 Donkey Kong one to match it as well. You know what I'm saying? Because I think they had a console one that was also, I think it was either yellow or a different color as well.
It's a jungle green.
green.
There you go.
And the cartridge is yellow because I do have both of those.
Oh,
But
wow.
I don't have the box. I don't have the box like this. The cool thing about this is I already have a Super Nintendo, so that's what I meant by this is redundant. This is everything I
cool
buy
thing
for my
about
collection
it.
is I actually want to enjoy it and play it. This is literally a Super Nintendo that won't even get played.
That's a great display. It's a great display piece.
Oh, it's
though, you know?
purely for the display. It's pure for the display.
Very nice.
So it's the second of a few Super Nintendo sets on the list, but you know.
Very
That's
cool.
the coolest thing about it.
Do you?
Huh?
That's the coolest thing about it.
The
I already
display,
have
yeah.
one. Like, you just love to hear that.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, you guys know I have one. This is.
Yeah.
Do you?
But I guess that's what happens when you collect.
Do you own Little Samson?
No, I don't have Little Samson. That game is insane. What is that game up to now? $25,000.
I know it's one of the high ones. I mean, I wouldn't ask, you know, the rest of the high ones, but that's one of the ones that every once in a while you'll find somebody scoop it for actually a pretty decent price, where it'll just float around. You know what I mean? For not too ridiculous.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, there are. It sometimes will get listed on that same sheet as like, you know, world events or whatever it's called, stadium events.
Stadium events, yeah. So I don't have any of those insane titles. I have some pretty crazy titles at this point because games that you would never expect got to that point. But nothing quite like you know, the crazy stadium events and the Mario Bros that are selling for $100,000 a copy. The one
What
that
about
retailers
the,
got and all that stuff. Nothing that crazy.
I think it's like, do you have one of the 3 Bible games for NES?
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about, though? I don't know the names,
the ones
but
that
they're
are not officially licensed. Like I believe Nintendo did not give approval, or those weren't made with Nintendo's like seal on them. I know what you're talking about. There's like a few Bible games, yeah. And
there's like a
they're pretty
handful.
rare.
Yeah, I
And
heard those
they're
are.
a different color. I think it's like a blue color.
Yeah,
To the cartridge.
they're like the pyramid case where it's like an odd whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah. No. There's some. I have some rare stuff, but those are like there's like the rare stuff that can buy houses or a Ferrari. I don't have those. Like it's funny that these NES games are more than a Ferrari. It's like it's crazy. No, I don't have those.
Arthur and Kevin, do you guys collect anything? Maybe even not to the same level of addiction that me and Dorian have, but is there anything other than, you know, musical instruments that you guys collect or have a passion for?
I not really. I mean, I definitely am a gamer. I mean, I got I got a sizable collection of games that I play, especially on PC now. Oddly enough,
Your retro stuff, though, you have a sizable retro collection. Like, not a lot of people have
yeah,
the Genesis and NES stuff.
yeah, I do. I have a lot of Genesis. NES is I have some cool ones that I have stored away. Like I have a Castlevania 3 like with the box, and that's one of my favorite NES games. Maybe one of my favorite games for
Nice.
nostalgia. But yeah, in terms of collecting, not too much. I'm eventually maybe I'll have not in a collecting sense, but a woodworking kind of. I'll have a nice woodworking shop. But no, it would. My hope would be almost to be able to provide for collectors some nice furniture and stuff, because definitely want to get into woodworking in that capacity of making fine furniture. And I already made Dorian one or two little shelves for his setup now. But yeah, making some more like high end stuff for collectors is exciting. But yeah, no, I nothing really sizable, I think.
I guess I'm next. So Cindy and I have been on quite a journey since we've been married, and like space is limited. If it were up to me, I would have a lot more instruments. I have a pretty big film collection, which has dwindled in the past couple years. Because we're actually getting more into minimalism, and we're not super religious about minimalism, but with the whole explosion of the Marie Kondo organizing your life, we did do that, and so I got rid of like a lot of stuff, except plants. So if I was to say I'm collecting anything right now and probably forever, is plants. I just love plants, and my whole art room I'm surrounded by plants. I have cuttings from last year. I keep propagating them, so I bought like 5 plants and I've made 20 more plants out of those, and I plan on giving them away. Half of my plants are outside. I just love being surrounded by nature and creating stuff.
I need you to come here. Bring your green thumb, man. I tried the same thing. I tried to like work in this little cute little garden. Planted all this shit and it all died. I'm all pissed. Nothing grew.
Do you got east setting window or south?
I have no idea how the sun hits, and that's probably my ignorance is why everything died. But no, I hear you. That's definitely
Rookie
a nice
mistake.
thing. It's a nice thing to collect.
Darn southern windows.
It's therapeutic. You know what I mean?
Oh
Yeah.
my god, I thought of one. I collect lighters.
But you don't smoke, do you?
I don't, but I
It just
collect
hit me.
lighters.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, dude.
You just steal
That's
them
good.
from
Holy
smokers
shit.
you hang out with?
Yeah, no, well, when I was a kid, maybe not from other smokers, but I acquired them through nefarious means as a kid. Wow, that's a good memory though. You remember I didn't smoke. It's amazing. What's that like?
Smoking?
To have memory.
Oh,
Dustin is very smart.
I don't know. That's kind of weird. I smoke too much. I shouldn't have this good of a memory, but whatever. It is what it
Yeah.
is. I spoke to you guys around the end of 2019, and you mentioned that the new album was done. You guys were like working on it like pretty heavily at that point.
Yeah.
COVID put a halt to everything, like you were just saying, Dorian. You want to kind of wait to see what happens. Is that pretty much what fans have to look forward to? Is just kind of like waiting to see what's up, and you guys just basically building around an album cycle that seems reasonable and doable when the world allows you to?
Yeah, it's kind of. Well, first of all, we're not even done with it. It's a very challenging thing to put together.
I should let it be said. I think if my memory it doesn't fail me, I think you were done like in the writing process of some of
the
it.
writing part.
You know what I'm saying? So I know the recording is a whole other bag of tricks.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
sorry, I should have clarified that.
No, you're right. The writing process was near finalized. There's still some tidbits left over, but besides that, you're right about the writing process pretty much being done. And yeah, we've been in the recording stages. But yeah, it's really about being able to support it. And we always imagined we would do more touring out of, not just playing Chicago venues, touring out of the state to support, especially this release. we really don't know where that future is right now.
Yeah, this album was meant to be a large, sizable push for us, even with investing in places we had not before, like advertising, PR,
Yeah.
and stuff, because that's frankly something you need to do to get ahead of, as you mentioned before, the noise. Yeah, it's like, now what? But I think if nothing else, going back to fans and what they can expect, like you said, this album being completed will allow us to start the next step, which is seriously, the forefront is how can we release music faster, get more music out there, because we have all these ideas and but now we're stuck recording, for instance, and learning material we wrote years ago. So I think fans can expect this album and then future albums, hopefully within, a year and a half of each other, and maybe a little more experimentation in the sound as well.
And as weird as this may sound, music possibly that is not this album, being, depending on the state of COVID and our ability to support this full length, music that is not on this album actually being released before this album. I know that sounds weird.
Oh yeah.
We're not entirely sure yet, but it's discussions we've had to get back on the writing boat and do the recording immediately and the mixing and production immediately, and having music. It doesn't have to be a full length. It doesn't have to be a full 50-minute album like our usual albums are, like an hour or more. It doesn't have to be that, but something that we release in an immediate way that doesn't have to have the live performance or the tour to support it, or the CD release show to celebrate,
Yeah.
That's something we've talked about. But yeah, there's a lot of things in the air because we don't know at the point of completion where the state of the country will be and where everything will be. So a lot of things are up in the air.
Arthur's falling asleep. What do you want to see happen, Arthur?
No, I'm just very frustrated. It's
With the process?
performance.
Oh,
Wanting to perform and not being able to. Right.
you're preaching to the choir, my friend.
It's just very looking forward to the day we can do that again.
It's no secret that I have a laundry list of issues. It affects every single thing I do in this world. With that being said, I'm curious, do you guys use your music to create as a form of therapy or expression for your own issues, demons, etc.? I know before Kevin mentioned that it is a therapeutic thing to a certain degree, but I'm curious, is that, maybe it might be easier to ask like as a pie chart. How much of that pie chart is music therapeutic?
Well, it's certainly therapeutic in certain moments of the process, like we talked about, completing albums, completing songs, playing for people,
Songwriting.
Yeah, songwriting, connecting with people that are with our audience and stuff. That's therapeutic in itself. Do you mean in terms of like what are things that you? What are shortcomings or injuries or things that you have as a person that music kind of helps you escape from?
Or could possibly help you even work on it. For example, I'll just give you one example. I know a lot of people who don't have dedication in their life, but are very dedicated to music. And they use that as a form of expression. Man, this might be the worst example, but they use it and they learn from it and can pull it somewhere else. I try to pour emotion into everything I do with music, and I try to use it as tools and a reflection. There's many ways that people can use it in a therapeutic sense. I mean, I don't know, whatever way the question might resonate with you, I'm not sure how else to word it, and that just chalked it to my own ignorance.
I think, certainly depression and anxiety for me are just lifelong things to deal with, and music definitely combats that in a number of ways. So that would be a huge one.
Like we were talking about earlier, how if it were taken away and when you can't do it, it's just this empty this empty void. But that also, besides that, it actually makes me feel a lot more negative in every other area of life. I forgot to mention that part. So it's probably a good, safe to say it's a good 50% of my life. And if we take that 50%, the other 50% is hindered in every other way because of that 50% taken.
Yeah, it's like an equalizer that kind of like helps, you know, everything. When it's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
there,
like-
it affects everything else too. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, again, we had like weeks or months, maybe a month or two, whether it was because of Arthur's physical injury or it was something that came up or something that was just very serious that would not allow us to continue working on the music that we've wanted to do. Okay, first feeling was withdrawal. I need to be working on something because I feel more productive, I feel more positive, I feel happier that way. I'm generally happier if I'm getting work done because it's work I like doing, music. But then you take it away after withdrawal symptoms, other things I would be doing, even a video game would be less enjoyable. Or other things I would be doing in life would be less enjoyable. So I would say it's a good equalizer. Yeah, it's a good 50% of a pie chart that's when you take it away, it's like the other half of things I enjoy are there, but it's like all kind of more tasteless, I guess. So it's a pretty big portion
Gotcha.
of it being therapeutic and just a thing that is that important to my mental state, you know, to staying positive or when I'm in my best moods is because music is there.
Yeah.
I guess. So
Hell yeah.
Depression and anxiety can make you your own worst enemy. You can be really mean to yourself in those moments, and to kind of be able to put all that aside and just kind of emote as a musician and get those emotions out makes a huge difference. Connect with your bandmates, you know, overcome things that you thought you wouldn't be able to, like maybe a part in a song that you can't figure out. It kind of helps you feel better about yourself, you know.
It's along those lines that I would say that it is therapeutic when we play a show, let's say, and you know someone comes up and says, "I love the sound of your kick drum. How'd you tune it? What kind of batter head do you use?" And you know, just like what do you call it? Chopping block or talking shop. Sorry, I don't know my American sayings. Yeah, like just that exchange with the audience, with fans, with friends, being able to share that experience is therapeutic. But almost everything else isn't. Like the whole recording process is not therapeutic, and it causes much anxiety for me personally. Sioum, except from the context of like playing the shows or like when it comes to writing the music, that's therapeutic. But the other stuff, not so much. It really
Which is probably
hard work. Yeah.
Yeah.
I worry that we're, you know, like coming off as super negative. It's just part of the game. It's part of the process. I think for any artist, right? Probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah,
think.
it's like
I wouldn't
the slave.
think negatively. Sorry, go ahead.
The pain and the suffering, the crap that we're in, like you said, Justin, that produces an album or music that other people, because I listen to all other bands, and that's therapeutic to me. Listening to their creation is amazing, and the fact that we get to create this experience for other people, then hearing them bounce back their joy, bounce back their. This one guy was like, "Hey man, I was so inspired. I wrote this whole poem thanks to you, thanks to your music." And it's things like that sprinkle in enough hope and enough joy to where it's like, yeah, it makes it worth it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Will we ever see the return of Dorian's beard? And since the Facebook has been inactive for years, are we going to get like an Arthur's beard account one of these days or no?
well, since that was a Facebook account not created by any of us. Wait, maybe you didn't know that actually.
I did not know that, which makes it even funnier.
That was totally something a close friend of mine, a good friend of mine, did as a joke. I had no access to that account. None of us did. And it was purely a thing he had a lot of fun with goofing around with. So I think that's never coming back. But yeah, it was just a thing in that time. I don't know, something just... I just remember waking up one day and seeing that account. And I was like, "What?" You know. Maybe Arthur can Arthur can have someone make an account.
Maybe. I'm not, to be honest, I'm not too attached to my beard. I'm willing to shave it if I get too sweaty or something. Like, it's just because I'm really lazy. That's why I don't shave. But one day my wife wants to see my face, so I think I'm gonna shave for Cindy, so she can see my face at least once in life.
You should just rock the dime bag beard for like a week and cut it down, dye it pink or something. Will the internet ever see the return of, and forgive me if I have this name wrong, it's been a very long time. What is it? KCTV?
Oh my God! Wait, KTV?
Oh, KTV.
Was it KTV? I can't remember exactly, but I know that this was a
wow.
This is a deep dive from.
What have you been talking? You've been talking to Chris again or something?
No, I haven't talked to that guy in ages. But Kevin used to be really into skits, and I was curious if those skits will ever get online again, or you ever dabble into the funny world of making videos anymore.
Holy shit, man! That's ancient. Yeah, and I like there is that itch. I think now it's much more. When you're a kid, you're just like getting on a roof of a car while it's still driving, and recording it. And oh shit, this is awesome. Pranks in Denny's parking lots or whatever. But yeah, now. Oh my God, KTV! I would like to do. At some point, I don't know. Let's just call it a dream. I would like to do some screenplays, because I am a film enthusiast for sure, and I'd like to get involved with some, I guess, some short films, and making some short screenplays for some short films.
Well,
cool.
You're a funny and prolific guy, so hopefully you do that, because I'd be interested to see to see what you whip together, because I know it definitely won't be it'll definitely be something that you'll take your time with, because I don't expect anything less than that. So if you do, you keep me posted, man. I'd like to check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, here's a fun one. Theoretically, if Sioum made a Patreon page where they had a tier named "Pay X amount of money," and Sioum will create a whatever song in a genre, what genre would it be? Like, say if you guys were allowed to pick the genre, but you had to create a song, could you come up with an agreeable genre that you could create something in? Or do you think you guys would battle to the death, all quit, and the Patreon would be gone like a week?
And we can't say video games. Don't even say
it can't. Yeah, it can't be anything you've done before. It's got to be
it.
something weird. It's got to be like rockabilly or like a bluegrass single or something. It's got to be out there because people are going to pay for it. Yeah.
But we get to choose it though. They're paying.
But you could give like, I don't know, maybe 3 choices or something. You know what I mean? So it's ultimately going to be up to them. But they'll pay you. The question is, what genres would you want to explore? You know what I mean?
Oh man, can we agree? I think we could agree, but I don't know what you guys are thinking. I don't know what I'm thinking.
Do you guys all have a love for Bob Seger or something? You all could write like a classic rock song or something?
I mean, we got to do the crabcore, right?
Man,
we got to do some crabcore.
Oh, you're saying it as a joke, but I think we're all agreeing with you immediately.
Oh yeah, dude, just like the tightest, too tight pants.
But we don't even need to be on video. We just have to make the song.
Get out of here. You got to be on video with very tight pants.
Our first music video,
straps.
crabcore music video.
Okay, so crabcore would be the genre first. Let's give 2 more. Is there any other genres you could all work on to create a song in?
I don't know if you guys think this, but my mind immediately goes to a genre that I know for sure we would never release we would never release our music in.
Rap?
But I am gravitating towards it. I know Kevin listens to it. I don't know what Arthur's exact take on it, but I dig thrash metal. Like first 3 Metallica albums, old Megadeth, stuff like that.
Hey, that makes my drumming so much easier. I would totally do it. All I have to do is blast me.
I just don't know if you guys would want to do it. I just
don't you feel like that's a cop out? Like, yeah, like okay,
it's pretty close.
It's kind of close to what we do.
I'm saying.
It's like it's one of the subgenres. We're a subgenre of a subgenre of that realm. So maybe that's too cheap.
So nobody gives a flying fuck about post metal, right? Like no problem. We're never going to make any money. It's okay. So what about for another genre? What is the genre where we can make the most obscene amount of money possible? Right? Like, fuck it.
Ooh.
Let's get that bread. Let's go to the Bahamas.
I don't even know what genre makes that much money. Like, what genres are making that much money? So I can't even say which one.
Pop.
Is it pop music?
You're gonna look at
Is
pop
it?
music.
Is it though?
Well,
Like
pop
really,
is such a broad term. Pop is Nirvana and Michael Jackson and
no.
No,
We're talking
it's-
about pop in the sense of what the genre is, not like a pop element in a rock band. You know what I mean? Like an actual Katy Perry, a Lady Gaga, or even on the
Justin
top of the
Bieber.
train. Yeah, exactly. Or you can go to like trap music, which is really popular too. I mean, could you guys release a Cardi B type Nicki Minaj
God.
rap song? Like,
would we have to be the ones singing on?
yes, you would be the ones rapping on the song. Of course, it would be about video games, of course, but you know, it would be highly
Do we have to be
overproduced
serious?
808s rapping, you know, the whole 9 yards.
Are we even capable of this? But I guess the point is
Yeah,
someone's
that's
paying
the-
us. As long as we agree
doesn't
upon it, who
matter.
cares what the quality
It
is,
doesn't
right?
matter, dude. We're getting that sick bread money, dude. It would be Super Mario 64 trap music,
Yeah, I think.
right?
Yeah, I guess we could probably do something like that.
I
we
mean,
could probably
right?
pull something like that.
So we have Crabcore, we have Super Mario 64 trap music. Boy, that's tough then for the third, because those are good. Those are going to be great.
Oh, so the subject matter we're singing about is Super Mario 64, but it's in the genre of like.
No. Like you take fucking Wahoo and let's a go, and you transform that into trap music. This for sure already exists, by the way. There's no way this doesn't exist already.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
like
has
really
to.
stretch out Mario's voice, and it's really bassy and boomy, and yeah.
Yeah, that's very good. You could use the coins like like for snares and stuff.
Have those.
I'm just saying what a revelation that would be, especially to have that as mainstream, like something that makes a lot of money. We could turn this industry upside down, boys.
A third genre. I don't know what everything I gravitate towards is a like umbrella go-to that is already we're already a part of it, basically, with what we're doing now. That's what I'm gravitating towards.
I'm gravitating personally towards ambient pig metal.
There was a joke project that a
Ambient
friend of
pig
ours
metal.
did, ambient pig metal.
Yeah.
We can agree, but we would all do that.
So
I
here's
think
the
that would
thing,
be a
that
good
it
one.
sounds like we're setting ourselves up for success in the realm of comedy, because we wouldn't really take any of those genres seriously, but someone pays us, so we would do it seriously well, but it would obviously be a joke. We wouldn't actually take it too seriously.
It's not a joke when you
Fun
get
and
that
games.
fat stack, dude. Get that
Ambient
fat
pig metal
That's
would
the
not
thing.
get any stacks of any kind. Let's be
It
real.
would all
ambient-
be sarcasm, or what's the word that comedians do all the time, that it's like flattery, it's making fun of something. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's not sarcasm, it's
Are you talking about like a satire to
satire.
a genre of
Basically,
music?
we would be
No.
creating satire music, which will sound just like the real thing,
I don't want to do a Spinal Tap thing though.
but
I wouldn't want to do a Spinal Tap thing. I'd want to do some real artist shit, some real ambient pig metal. Justin already said that we would get paid to do it, so we don't have to worry about it. Like, it's already in the bag. We have the money. Fucking snort out some pig noises and make that bread, dude, is all I'm saying.
So what is this? Just like
all right,
ambient
I guess I'm out
dance?
then. I don't want to.
What would that be, like ambient dance music with like the singer of Cattle Decapitation just going buck wild on it, or what?
Well,
No,
we're gonna have to send you a track afterwards.
All right, that
Our
sounds
friend did
good.
this. Our friend did this already, and yeah.
If we give the okay, I'll play a little snippet of it here and scare everyone who's
Very
listening.
inspirational.
Trust me, you have the okay. I already can see Pasha saying okay.
Yeah, definitely. Let's hope that link is still online. If not, we'll have to get the
That's
masters.
3 witnesses saying okay. So if
Nice.
you get sued, we all have to get sued together.
What does success mean to you?
Wow.
It'd be something self-related. It'd be like self-satisfaction, perhaps. It wouldn't be monetary or anything like that, as cliche as it is, but it would probably be self-satisfaction as an artist. I'm sure there's a better word for it, but just feeling satisfied with the work you do, the music you're putting out and stuff.
Just reaching that level of copacetic or being happy, at least dare I say happy with what you do, and that is a level of success within itself. Would you say?
Yeah, just like just in being able to get out of your own way and just enjoy your artistry. So be able to release music without much struggle or strife, like in a way that's negative, like much of what we've been talking about. So like just being able to produce content, find your workflow, and be very proud of the final product, and not look back and be like, oh, that was really negative. So I think just, yeah, being able to streamline the process and enjoy your artistry, that would be success to me. And of course, I guess beyond that, if you want to put it another way, a different aspect would be like to be able to be self-sustaining off of music, I guess, if you want to go more of a logical route, like off the money you make. I think if you can make a living as an artist and enjoy your work, then that's success for sure.
What was the question again? How you phrased it?
Shave your beard on camera. That was the question. I'm just kidding. No, I was just saying, what does success mean to you? A lot of people in this industry, you know what I mean, have a lot of different goals. So I'm just curious, what does success mean for you?
Yeah, I think Kevin hit a couple of great points. It's a nuanced answer. There's no black and white answer, because success isn't a yes, you have it, or no, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
There's every degree of success in between. And since I've reframed my definition of success in the last couple of years, I would say that I feel successful right now. Like there's nothing unsuccessful about it. Again, if we talk about money, completely unsuccessful. Like we are the most unsuccessful band in Chicago. Not the most. But Sioum still owes me money. Sioum still owes me like $2,000. The money that we've invested, we still haven't seen yet. But then there's also the spiritual aspect, right? For me and my faith, I would answer the question differently. If I were to answer your question, it would be a different answer in that realm. But just here, down to earth answer would be, I'm content. I'm grateful. I'm thankful for the opportunities I have. I am hopeful for the future, and I think that success is something that, again, it's on a sliding scale. It's 0 to 100. Yeah. So today I would say I was 70% successful because I did my laundry and cleaned my bathroom. I'm going to enjoy my life. I'm not going to get super neurotic about it.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I definitely it is a broad area, but I think it's easy to go and gravitate immediately towards, oh, I want to be able to live and do everything in my life from the income derived from creating music. But no, I do feel that it is more important always, and it's easy for me to make the separation. Because yeah, it's ideal. The ideal setup would be to wake up and just work on music, and not have to worry about other costs and other things in life. I just wake up and that's what I'm doing. I know my path is set that day, for that week, that month, those years. I wake up and work on music, but I feel like there's already been great levels and areas of success already been. Like I've achieved quite a bit of those areas, and it's hard exactly to pinpoint levels, but it's really
There's
being in control. Huh? Yeah, I feel proud. Yeah, I feel proud of the work.
Yeah.
The work and what we've accomplished.
We don't love money, so that's a huge reason our definition of success is so nice. It's a nice definition.
I think the fact that we can make exactly what we want to make and how we want to, that feels pretty successful to me. I feel pretty successful doing exactly what we're doing, how we're doing it, because we can.
Yeah.
So,
That's a great thing to hear, though, because I've remembered having other conversations with you guys where you almost felt like throwing your hands up, looking to other avenues and trying to figure out, what's next, and what the hell are we gonna do, and to know that it's like, you take a step back, even like Arthur said, maybe even readjust your expectations, or even go back and look at the things that you have accomplished and be like, no, we have actually reached level of success, like, and we're gonna keep going towards this and doing the best we can. That is a very healthy way to be looking at this, you know what I mean? Because greater men have fucking thrown in the towel, you know what I mean? Because their level of success aren't reached, or they can't reprogram themselves, or even like Kevin said, their head's in the way, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
to be open, to keep progressing, I mean, for a progressive band, I wouldn't expect anything else. No, just kidding.
Yeah. I think especially with COVID and everything, if one of the if there's only a few positives, one is just that it gives us the opportunity to just step back, because we can't go through the motions of being a band the same way, to step back and be like, kind of rethink what's important, and to refocus on why you started in the first place, instead of trying to, oh, how do we get seen the most, what show can we play next, and we have to set up a tour. It's I mean, the truth is, all that's really nice, but man, maybe you can also use it as a moment to reflect on what you want to do as an artist moving forward.
Well, the truth is, you didn't start this to talk about how many tickets you're selling and, metrics on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's all important, but
yeah.
I mean, that's not the genesis of what's going on here. And I think you guys might be a select few to hold on to that, but I think that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Many people will actually throw that aside for a lot of other shit. And it's questionable if that shit matters. I mean, obviously it's in the eye of the beholder, you know what I mean? But, maybe some of us deem some other things more important, or at least of value,
The great thing to keep in mind, we didn't start this for those reasons. Great thing to keep in mind.
Not even in like a holier than thou way. Like, it's so important to mention that, it's like, it right now sucks. Recording an album is difficult. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We can't play shows and connect with our fans. These are two really tough things, but it's still great to be a musician. It's still incredible to be able to write the music we do, and so much to look forward to in terms of an artist and us writing new music and showing anyone that wants to listen all these ideas we have as musicians. So I guess to sum all that up, it's just a lot of negative stuff going on. It can certainly get you down. It's very tough, but also it's not the worst job in the world to be a musician. There's a lot worse things you could be doing.
Yeah, if these are the problems, these are technically good problems to have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could be a hell of a lot worse at the end of the day.
Yeah. We're still emoting and doing what we love to do, and things are changing. Who knows? Will we be on Twitch a year from now doing shows there?
Yeah.
Will we be at Oasis 2.0? Will we be in Europe? Who knows, man? Just keep at it, right? That's all you can do.
For sure.
A lot to be grateful for today, and just staying in the moment is the most important.
For sure. Easier said than done, but definitely something good to focus on and to shoot for. No doubt about that. And it's interesting that you say we didn't start for these things. I've played in music for a long time. Been in a bunch of different projects for a bunch of different reasons. But one of the biggest things that I spend a lot of my time with is trying to help other people. You guys have seen that, from working on Feedback Magazine to J Street to working band management and doing all kinds of other crap throughout the years. But as I mentioned to you through prior message, if I have to take something else seriously in my life, I'm going to vomit. Like I've just reached a point where I can only take so much.
Sure.
But one thing that is I'm constantly coming back to is I want to be able to help people. And I don't have many avenues to do that, but I want to be able to help in some way. I like helping. It has always made me feel good, and I like using my passions or efforts in whatever way I can to help people. And I'm always extremely grateful for anyone who does it for me, and I go to extreme lengths to tell them that. I've been asking people, as general and as vague as it possibly is, I'm talking to people in all different types of careers, and I'm asking them, like, what's a nugget of advice you can give for people? You've been through the ringer. You guys have, you know what I mean? You're not young cats anymore. You've been doing this for a while. You know, you've seen trials and tribulations. You've seen different scenes. You've gone through ups and downs with recording. You've done the merchandising. You've done the this. You've done the that. You know what I mean? Is there any nuggets that you could pass down for any people that are listening to this who might want to get into this, or who are artistic and maybe hitting a rut? Anything. As corny as it sounds, tell them something great.
Wow, that's that's quite the task to do. As a musician, I still, like, am I doing things right? Like, I still feel like I'm doing so much wrong, right? Like, there's so much more I could be doing. I guess if I had to offer any advice, it would be something that I continued to fail at, which is to get out of my own way. And I mean that in every sense of the word. You almost have to take like a Taoist approach and just give yourself what you need to succeed. You know, if you're playing your instrument and you say, "Oh man, I just can't play this yet. I'm not good." Well, if you feel that way, then damn it, like, just get out of your own way and just keep playing, or write things that are within your ability. You know, just like lose the ego, lose the self almost, and just try to create something. And please don't look to others to create that. Please, just, you have a voice, you have a vision. You don't need to look to someone else. You don't need to look for, you don't need to listen to other music and say that, I should try sounding like this, or this EDM track, where's the drop? I need a drop on this because that's just the standard. Like, please just do the music and the art that you want to do, because there's certainly enough of everything else, and the world needs more of that.
Yeah, that's a good point to say that, to not compare. Very good point to make, to not compare to what's out there already, to this and that. Oh, look how successful. Speaking of success again, look at what those people have achieved with that, with what they're doing. I think that's a safe thing to always say, is just don't do it, because it's a really a negative thing. How do you feel afterwards? What do you feel? What is the response you feel after comparing yourself? Look what they've achieved. Look how they sound. Look how perfect they're playing. Look how great they are. You usually feel like you can't do what you want to be actually doing. You don't usually feel a positive response. So,
and the more you look at it, you put it on this pedestal, so every time it's reflected back, it just gets deeper, and you get lower and lower.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then there's the standard advice. You hear so many people saying it. You keep going, because in the end, do you want that empty void there of something you enjoy being gone forever? Or do you want to just stick through the tough and just make sure you end up with all the positive things you also get from it? So you really do just keep going, because will it be worse? Will there be not only regrets, will there be more negative experiences? Will there just be more depression if you don't have that there? I guess you have to kind of look at what it provides for you.
Well, basically to work through the failure, you know?
Yeah, and kind of yeah, work through, and kind of the standard thing. You always hear everyone just keep doing it, keep going, don't stop. That's the standard kind of. But putting some thought into it. There's a lot of little branches that come out from that phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Don't stop doing it because you love it. Just keep going. So, but yeah, it's definitely those things.
There's a lot of pressure. To to be like the master of all. You know, you have to be able to be a good musician. You have to be able to afford and have your own studio to record your own music. Then you have to be able to engineer it, and then apparently you can master it yourself. Then you have to be able to promote yourself, and you have to be able to do all merchandising, and magically have the money for that. And then social, you have to be able to network with other people. Like, it can be so overwhelming. If one thing that always actually usually stopped me from wanting to do music was to hear all of these things about what I need to be good at, and how I need to be able to do every fucking thing under the sun in order to even be a musician and just play my instrument, enjoy myself. And that was maybe one way that I got my own way, was thinking that I have to do that, because you don't have to do any of that. Like, it's okay to not be perfect at everything. Like, just be an artist, man. Just play your instrument, just write your music, and then figure it out from there. But music has to come first.
Yeah. As the hours, days, weeks, years of your life go by, you forget a lot of these things.
Yeah.
I think maybe a discussion like this, it helps to center yourself. Thinking about these subjects, talking about these subjects, you can kind of recenter and remember a lot of these things. So just thinking about that question, what advice is making me circle through all the things that we've experienced and I've experienced, and just like, okay.
Yeah, because we failed a lot of times in various aspects of being successful. But I can always be proud of the fact that I never gave up, and that the love for it was always there. And I never bent my vision of what I wanted to do and what felt like my truth as a musician in order to obtain one of these other goals that I have to be good at in order to make it as a musician. And like, that feels really good. So yeah, making sure you adhere to your truth as an artist is just imperative. It feels like that now anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything to add, Arthur, or have you fallen asleep once again? Like, we got to keep this guy awake up here. No, I'm just
I was
kidding.
wondering. No. I'm deep in thought. I was wondering if I want to make sure I answer it correctly and not go on 50 bajillion tangents as is the case. Once my mouth opens, it's like a faucet.
You got this.
I want to, like, now that I have a prefrontal cortex, I have a little bit of a filter, right, to my thoughts and my emotions. I can.
And yet here you are.
Here I am going on a tangent about how I have a prefrontal cortex.
Very good.
So Kevin and Dorian hit a lot of great points, and if I want to expand a little bit, I would add a caveat to, give yourself grace to what Kevin's mentioned about not beating yourself up too bad if you fail. So it comes down to define success and failure. Don't make it this black and white thing. Try to find a definition that shows you that there's a whole nuance to the word success and how much success you have, right? You can be 50% successful. That's better than zero. So it's not this 100 or 0 thing. If you put your all into your music and fail according to your definition, so maybe you should change the definition of failure and, like, hey, you tried. So maybe you didn't fail 100%. Maybe it's only a 50% failure. You tried, and that's really one of the most important things you can do to be true to yourself. And I would also add another caveat about not beating yourself up. Also, try not to beat others up. Try not to, if you get stuck in a certain way, try not to condescend and, like, in a prideful way, try to beat your knowledge over people, because it just puffs you up, and like, I'm better than you at this, or I'm amazing at writing these beats. Just be humble. Try to stay away from pride and selfishness, especially when it comes to art and music. We shouldn't really, be, again, like Kevin and Dorian mentioned, go after stay in your lane. In other words, like don't go into someone else's lane and tell them they're doing it wrong. Like just stand in your post, stand your guard. Do what
I have
you
heard
gotta
that
do.
too. I've heard that as just a general advice. That's probably really good advice. It's not advice that I am able to always adhere to, but be friendly to everyone. Be nice to everyone. Be everyone's best friend. I've heard that is very successful but advice to follow in the industry. So maybe if you're looking for like a nugget of truth in how to be a successful musician by more conventional means and stuff, yeah, just like be as friendly as possible to everyone you meet. And maybe that's just a good thing to try and adhere to in general, you know?
Yeah,
So,
amen to that. So that's exactly how I want to finish my thought, which is more on the spiritual side of things, is being kind, being friendly, being nice, being just being kind, you know, and not really pushing people away with rudeness or resentment, or always insisting on your way, like it has to be my way or the highway kind of attitude. That just doesn't work in the music industry. It doesn't work. It's how bands break up. It's how musicians burn out, especially when it's like a sound engineer doing it. But for me, I can't separate my faith from what I'm doing here on earth. So like, it's the idea of like, you are not what you do, and know that the fact that you exist, the fact that you have breath in your lungs, the fact that you're able to hear this whole conversation with us right now means you have value, you have purpose, and that value and that purpose is intrinsic to your existence. It has nothing to do with what you do. It has nothing to do with what songs you've written, what art you've painted. We'll keep it in the context of music. And so since I've been born again, I don't adhere to the idea that you are what you do, because if that's the case, you will be a very sad, miserable person, right? Humans are complex. We are more than what we do. I think there is an intrinsic value to your existence. So even if you try music for, God, we've been trying music for 15 years, and let's say you go 10 years in and you're done. That's okay. Just find the next thing. Don't give up. Don't give up on life just because you didn't succeed in music. But hopefully just stay in your lane and keep writing the music that is true to you. And I think you will find that life is, you know, for the most part ordinary. There's good times and there's bad times, but enjoy it. Enjoy the ride of being a composer or a musician.
because it's a wild ride.
Wild.
Well, there's definitely a lot of good nuggets you guys threw out there, so I appreciate all of that. Though I will add, first and foremost, I've actually heard the words uttered out of a guitar player. I don't have to do that. I write the riffs.
Yeah.
Always love coming back to that one where it's just like, oh.
The truth.
You know, I've worked in a couple different industries, and I find that musicians are definitely on the top tier of interesting individuals, to say the least. And it is interesting that you guys, you know, are talking about like get out of your own way, put ego aside. Musicians tend to look at their music as their babies. They romanticize these things as the most important actions of their entire existence. And it is important. It's a great thing. But like you said, there is definitely more. And getting outside of your own way will help you grow a lot more. Doesn't mean that you're, you know, doesn't have to be that, like you say, my way or the highway. You can still pursue what you want to do, but be open to those things, you know. And that's a really good bit of advice. I think a lot of people in this industry have very big blinders on. And they see one thing, and they want one thing, they don't get it, and they're done. Being able to be open with yourself, that's a great bit of information. So, as always, I knew coming to you guys, I would always get some nuggets of amazing things to pass on to the world around. So I appreciate all your info.
Dude, thank you so
Getting
much.
our horn.
I don't.
Getting our horn way up there.
Awesome.
I don't think I have more questions, but you guys have given me so much data to choose
you have
with.
like
Thank
10
you.
episodes, right?
Yeah,
Like, 12
Yeah.
episodes here.
I don't mind chatting. It gives me a lot to work with and a lot to edit down. Obviously, I have no idea when this is going to come out, but I'll try to get it out. I'll plug everything, website, merch, Bandcamp, blah, blah, blah. Is there anything else you guys want to plug or mention or anything like that that I can add to it? Any independent projects that you're working on, Arthur? Kevin, do you have your pizza business up yet? Dorian, are you selling games on eBay? Like, is there anything that's going on that I can help out in any kind of way?
I would like to toot your horn first, Mr. Yates. Your shirt really fits you. You are a lighthouse. Like you're really being that light to
Thanks, man.
musicians. You're giving us an opportunity where we're helping each other out, right? And it's not dog eat dog. At least it shouldn't be. So thank you for that. Thank you for your time. Thank you for this interview. I can't wait to see the content you roll out in the future beyond this crazy
Thanks, man.
half-day interview with Sioum.
Yeah.
But I would say the only thing I would plug is, Sioum's got the third album. We're working on it. Don't know when it's going to come out. But I do plan on eventually writing some books. I find a lot of free time on my hands these days. So looking into, publishing my first books and getting the ball rolling with that, getting the ball rolling with becoming a father. That's a huge step.
Yeah, congrats again,
I'm
man.
terrified of.
That's awesome. That's awesome news.
Yeah, thank you. It's, I constantly have both voices in my head and like, don't do it, don't do it. It's like, just because it's hard doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It's going to be difficult. It's going to present a whole new crap load of problems and challenges, we'll say. Challenges to my life and to Dorian and Kevin's life as well, since we're a band. But we'll figure it out. When we have to cross bridges, we cross them together. That's how it works. So yeah, I want to write some books. I want to keep doing music, keep painting. Hopefully I'll get some more time lapses out there. But if you want to check out my YouTube, Twitch, everything Arthur's Zdrinc. Everything, you can find me anywhere on the internet at Arthur's Zdrinc. So
I'll make sure to link everything up there. So
cool.
Yeah, I think you'll have all the links. So there's nothing else I could think of. This was awesome time. Really had a great time just having this conversation with you. So
yeah, it was great, man. It was great talking. I can't think of besides the album, I know Dorian, you have your Twitch that you're the most active with.
Twitch stuff is cool, and I think our band Twitch and all of our individual Twitch accounts, I think we're just going to be more and more active as the album reaches its completion.
do you guys think on the band's page you'll be doing more of the recording process, actually doing takes and way more in depth, or do you think that might be not too sure if you're going to stream all that?
I say probably not. I think we missed that opportunity. How about that? We have recorded stuff in the past, like with our first album, and lo and behold, we didn't use any of it. It's a very personal process too. I've come to realize, working on sound design on Twitch Live, it's a very personal process, and I'm not sure how I even feel about it. So I would rather almost work on
New material
yeah.
Gotcha.
And have that be available on Sioum Music Twitch. But also, yeah, we're all gamers, man. So we all do have our independent Twitch channels. Mostly I am on the Sioum one if I'm doing video games with Dorian, sometimes Arthur. But yeah, then Dorian has his own. Let me try and think for myself. Do I have anything else? Well, eventually I am a woodworker now, I guess. So I may eventually be doing commissions. I don't have a website or anything. So, but yeah, that's something I'd like to eventually do.
Well, keep me posted. You guys know I love everything that you do, so keep me in the loop and hit me up anytime. I love talking shop. I know you guys are busy, but I'm pretty much at home all the time, so hit me up whenever. But I can't thank you enough for making time. rambling or not, I appreciate all the answers. It gives me a whole bunch of great stuff to edit, and I just knew that I'd be coming to the right guys because you guys gave me some really cool insights and some stuff about the band, and it's just great to catch up and see you guys. So
Yeah, man, so great talking with you.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So again, guys,
Yeah.
thank you very much. I'll keep you
Cool, man.
posted. Enjoy your day.
Yeah.
Don't be a stranger, and thank you again so much.
Yeah, man, thank you so much. Great
Thank you,
talking with you,
amigo.
catching up.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
Have it.
good
I'll
catching
take
up.
care.
Talk to you guys soon.
See you later.
Talk
Bye,
later
everyone.
then.
See ya.
Peace.
That's great.